All right, let's go ahead and continue here with our exploration of JDK9. Let's go back to our little presentation. Okay, so we talked about JSR 376, which is the modularization of Java now. The next main feature that was added is the JEP 222. Let's look at, since we're here, let's go ahead and find 222. And there we go. It's the J shell, which is the read eval print loop that we briefly talked about. So what does this do? Now, up till now, what happens is if you want to start learning Java, for instance, as you have gone through the process now, you have to download everything. You have to download your JDK, you have to set up your computer, and then write the hello world, which is totally fine. But now with the Java shell, with the J shell as they call it, which is JEP 222, okay, one of the features enhancements, we can now easily just use the command line or the terminal if you're on Mac to start writing code real quickly. So what this does, it allows us to write and test pieces of Java code in command line or terminal, as I say, and it also allows us developers to evaluate declarations such as, let's say, tx is equal to 8 or ab is equal to 20. Any statement and expressions in Java now, we can do all of that in a J shell. And of course, I'll show you how to do that, and you can see the power of that. Now, if you click on this J shell here, okay, this JEP 222, click on that, you'll see it has all of the goals. You can read on your time. It has motivation here. It says immediate feedback is important when learning a programming language, and it's APIs. API stands for Application Programming Interface. So essentially, it's a library, a way for us to connect with the Java library. Okay, and the number of one reason schools cite for moving away from Java as a teaching language is that other languages have a REPL or REPL and have far lower bars to an initial hello world. So essentially, it's saying what I just explained here. With this tool, it allows us to quickly start writing simple Java statements on command line or terminal, which allows us to actually start understanding whatever we're trying to understand. So it's good for teaching, for learning the language, as opposed to having to download all sort of things and an IDE and then write the hello world and all that stuff, right? Because now with our J shell, we can do all of that quicker and faster so that we can just see the results right away. So it's a huge feature indeed. I really like this link here, this website, because it really explains everything that you need to know, so you can understand exactly why, the motivation behind this new change or this new feature, this new addition, and so forth. So like I said, really take your time and go and read all of this. I think it's really going to help you have a broader picture of the Java language in general, and specifically Java 9. And the other feature that was added into Java 9 is the JEP 102. Let's go ahead and find JEP 102, which is this one, Process API Updates, which is one I talked about. Let's click on this one. And tells you exactly, says improved API for controlling and managing operating system processes. Again, I understand this may not make a lot of sense because you may be starting in Java, but if you are a little advanced in Java, this will make a lot of sense because now you will understand what a process is and so forth, okay? So this update improves the API for controlling and managing operating system processes. Okay, just know that. It's a huge deal, especially when you're talking about creating enterprise, really large applications where you need to understand, where you need to dig deeper and write code that connects to the processes of the operating system. Okay, and again, you can go down here and start reading the motivation and so forth. Okay, I hope this is making some sense at least. Okay, let's go back in the other one. I think it's important to show you because, like I said, we have so many of them here. All right, so I'm just picking the ones that I think are important for you to know. The main one, of course, being this Java shell and the JEP 200, the modular JDK. Those are the big ones. But the other one is the HTTP2 that I just briefly talked about here. Okay, so if you click here, of course, we've been here before, and you can read about it. And you notice this API now supports the new HTTP2. So we had HTTP1 client before. So HTTP is essentially the hypertext transfer protocol that allows us to connect to the internet, right? So our applications can go and fetch data from remote servers and so forth. So it's a big deal because nowadays all of our applications have some sort of dynamic interactivity with data that it's staged somewhere else. So this is a big deal. The fact that now with Java 9 there's a change that defines a new HTTP client API that implements a new protocol and WebSocket. Okay, so it replaces the old ways of using certain APIs for connecting to remote servers with faster, easier ways. And I repeat again, if this makes no sense, do not worry, but I still want you to keep listening to me, if you will. Okay, go through this this little section here, about Java 9, because it's really important to me that you at least start understanding what's the motivation behind Java 9. Okay, why do we even care? And obviously we could have kept going here, and I would want you to actually do that on your own time. You can go through all of these new features that were added, and you can read about them. As you saw, they're not very hard to understand. They may be a few things that can be a little bit difficult to understand if you're new, but nevertheless, I still urge you to do so. Go ahead and read around and explore and see what else has been done for Java 9. What is the big motivation, or what are the advantages of us now having this module, this Java platform module, which is the JSR 376? So I think this will be the JAP 200. You click here, you see we should have JSR 376 here, right? Why is it so important? Now, this addresses two fundamental needs of all large Java applications, okay? I'm talking about really large Java applications. One, with our modularized Java now, we have this reliable configuration. So it replaces the fragile, error-prone class path mechanism that's been used for a long time. That's number one. Okay. And the second one, it provides strong encapsulation. What this means is, with Jigsaw now, we are now able to hide within classes that are not supposed to be seen by other classes. So this means that now we can declare which of the module's public types are accessible to other components and which aren't. And that's a huge deal. Why? Because this makes our code scalable, reliable, and improves performance. So as we build these big applications, these enterprise applications, code scalability, reliability, and performance, those are very important factors. And this is one of the reasons why this is a big deal, that Java 9 provides this now. Okay, and of course, as we discussed, JAP 222, which is the J shell command line. So we go back here. 222, this one J shell here. It's amazing because now on Windows like I said before, we can easily access Java libraries we could easily start typing in command line or in command line or terminal and access all of the libraries, Java libraries, write little snippets of code, statements, and so forth, without having to go through the hassle that we usually have to go to start learning or to start testing certain pieces of code. So that's huge. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a terminal or command prompt so you can start seeing what I mean. This was an introduction to the features of Java 9. Like I said, there's a lot of them there, but I just wanted to give you a little taste of what's in Java 9. Okay? And again, if this makes no sense right now, no problem. Do not worry about it. We'll just continue our course the way it is, using the stable Java version. But in a few months, Java 9 will, again, quote unquote, take over. And so I want you to start thinking in those terms. And obviously, a lot of things that you're going to be doing, especially when you're learning Java and building your own applications, a lot of it's not going to affect you that much. And I say that with a grain of salt there, because most of these features will really affect you when you start building large applications. But nonetheless, it's important for you to be aware of these features, because as the language progresses, I want you as a developer to also progress with it. Do not resist change, especially when it comes to technology. Okay? Perfect. I'll see you in the next video where we will be exploring the JShell feature. Okay? I'll see you next.